Welcome, Carolina Panther fans. This is Cat Scratch Playback.
Today on Playback, we dive deeper into this year's wide receiver draft class. It's April 18th, 2014, and this is episode 2.
All right, welcome, Panther Nation, to a second helping of Cat Scratch Playback, the show for rabid Panther fans and football geeks everywhere. With me by my side is self-appointed draft expert Clint Shankle. Clint, what's going on in the Motor City tonight?
Hello, how are you doing, ladies and gentlemen?
Especially the ladies, right? Like Clint?
No.
Oh, all of a sudden he's shy. Also with us is Chris Sinclair, who is a former assistant head coach and offensive coordinator for the Carolina Heat, and he is currently the safeties and returners coach of the Ragsdale High School, the Flying Tigers. Chris, what's up, man? How you doing this evening?
It's good to be here. Ready to talk about some of this football drama.
All right, so when you don't have something, that's all you want to talk about, and we don't have any wide receivers on the Panthers, so we're going to talk about that again this evening. Let's start off with someone who, when Chris mentioned this guy and turned me on to him, wow. I turned on this film and I got really excited. I sent him about probably 10 texts and blew up his phone. We're talking about Kevin Norwood.
I like the potential of Kevin Norwood from Alabama. In my opinion, his floor comparison is Mohamed Sanu of the Cincinnati Bengals, and his ceiling comparison is Jeremy Maclin of the Philadelphia Eagles. At 6'2" and 198 pounds, he's actually a little bit bigger than I thought. And then he went out and surprised a lot of people when he ran a 4.4 at the Combine. All reports have Norwood as a high-character kid, on and off the field, and primarily a player your quarterback can trust. Norwood isn't a one-trick pony either. He appears comfortable with an expanded route tree and will probably be more highly rated had he played in a more wide-open passing attack. But with that said, when Alabama did throw the football, Norwood showed great consistency in route running and hands. He seems to have a strong understanding of route combinations, coverages, and if a play breaks down, he can find the open voids in the secondary. I think Kevin Norwood is the type of player that can slide to the 3rd or 4th round in this deep receiver draft and be a steal for the Carolina Panthers. He does need to get stronger in the weight room and work on his release against press coverage. Ultimately, though, Norwood is a player with a high ceiling that would be a dependable, hard-working player that can earn Cam Newton's confidence and provide you with some big play potential.
Okay, Kevin Norwood, you got to love that aggression, his my ball mentality, tremendous body control. I just love this guy. In the 3rd or 4th round, tremendous value. He has a high ceiling. In my opinion, with Cam Newton, he would have a very low floor. So I really like this guy, and I think he's really being undervalued and not being talked about near enough. Clint, what do you think? Is there someone else we should be targeting, or would you be okay with this?
Well, I like Kevin Norwood. The main reason is he has featured receiver skill sets. He can get deep. He can impact the short and intermediate. He can impact the red zone. He's good in the 3rd down area, making a tough contested catch. So he's really a very underrated player, has catch radius, has size. Really an underrated player in a very deep draft class.
Kevin Norwood, to me, typifies why we're doing this show. No one's talking about him, probably getting talked about in scouting circles and scouting committees, and GMs have them higher on the board and hoping no one else notices.
The 2014 draft class is being hailed as one of the best draft classes for wide receivers in over a decade. One of the main reasons why is because this draft class is really littered with receivers that have an identity of making the contested catch radius, size, and physicality. These are the attributes that directly affect red zone, chunk plays, and first downs in the National Football League. One of the players that embodies this is Jordan Matthews. This is a prospect that really is kind of obscured by the fact that he didn't have the best quarterback play, which kind of impacts the type of routes that you can run and type of things that you can put on film, just because he doesn't have the quarterback that can project the passing game outside the numbers and really take advantage of the length and size and physicality that in the NFL defines the teams that can score points via the passing game. Jordan Matthews has displayed throughout his time in the SEC that he can win one-on-one coverages, even in tight coverage where playing against the best athletes in the country. Jordan Matthews is
really a player that will be a better pro than he is a college player because of this. Teams that have wide receivers with catch radius and can play with physicality and make the contested catches score touchdowns. You need players that can absorb those touchdowns in the passing game. Jordan Matthews, better pro prospect than he is a college player.
Jordan Matthews, I love that aggressive route running. He catches the ball aggressively. He does everything aggressively, which is exactly what you want with an aggressive quarterback matchup with Cam Newton. He does have some rather strange habits when he's running his routes. One thing I do really like about him is his blocking. He seems to relish that. He has that dog in him, like Chris likes to say. So, Clint, what do you think? Where would you be comfortable taking Jordan Matthews if you're comfortable taking him at all in this deep class?
Late first round to anywhere in the second. I don't think he'll last into past mid-second, but I think you can justify him in the late first round. I don't think he's a case of an A.J. Jenkins. I think he's a known quantity. I think that he's showed he can display the competitiveness against SAC top-level competition. He's been consistent, even with shaky quarterback play. He's been able to produce the touchdowns, the impact play, the go-to guy when everybody knows he's going to get it against the best athletes. So I really like his game, and I think there's room to improve. And I think that he'll be a better pro than he is a college player. And if with that being said, he's one heck of a college player. I think he can be a better pro.
All right, Chris, what do you think? Is first round too early for him? Would you rather say, take a Kelvin Benjamin or whoever sits down, or what do you think? When's
No, I'm in love with Jordan Matthews as a value player. I personally would say middle of the first round to early second is his draft range, and that's just depending on team needs and the like. The thing about Jordan Matthews is, like Clint, following up on what Clint said, this guy's not only going against SEC players and beating SEC players, they're going out, and the game plan to stop Vanderbilt is to stop him. A lot of times this guy's beating double coverages. He's doing different things in that dynamic. And I think he's got the potential to be the best route runner coming out of this draft. And it's just a huge security blanket for any quarterback. You can go to this guy at any point of the game. He had not one, not two, but three different quarterbacks thrown to him while he was at Vanderbilt, and produced under all three to be the SEC's all-time leading receiver. You cannot give this kid enough accolades. And when he threw down at 4.4 at the combine, I think that validated just how good he was. And I think that's what takes him up to a middle of the first round pick. I mean, he is – I don't see where you can make an argument that he's a lesser talent than an A.J. Green.
I think he's just not as flashy. He's not as explosive as A.J. Green. But I do think that quietly he can be one of these guys that can absorb 10 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, and you say, why did we pass on him?